The experts will tell you that bonds should make up a significant portion of any retiree's portfolio. I disagree. Last year, after retiring at age 51, I sold all the bond funds that I was holding and replaced them with Strategy's preferred stocks, STRC, STRK, STRF, and STRD. Together, those four tickers make up the digital credit core of the four-bucket strategy that I'm using to fund my early retirement. And today I'm going to walk you through my four-bucket strategy and how I manage my cash, my income portion, my growth stocks, and my Bitcoin holdings. I'm Michael, and this is B-tirement. And real quick before we dive in, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial planner. I'm not an accountant. I'm just sharing what I'm doing with my money. Everything in this video is for informational and educational purposes only. Talk to your own advisors if you need help with your own financial planning. If you've read anything about retirement planning, you've come across the classic three-bucket strategy. Bucket 1 is cash with 1 or 2 years of expenses. Bucket 2 is bonds and dividend-paying stocks that cover the next several years. Bucket 3 is stocks for long-term growth. You spend out of Bucket 1 and you replenish it from Bucket 2, and you let Bucket 3 grow for the long term. I love the framework, but I have two big problems with this classical bucket approach. Problem number 1 is bonds. The traditional Bucket 2 leans heavily on bonds and bond funds, and the performance recently has been ugly. In 2022, the Bloomberg U.S. Aggregate Bond Index fell 13%. That's the worst calendar year performance of the index's history. And long-duration treasuries, measured by the TLT, fell 31% in the same year. And it wasn't just 2022. If you look over the last 5 years, that U.S. bond index, the total return is basically flat. And once you take into account inflation, you're really seeing negative returns by holding these bond funds. Bonds were supposed to be the safe bucket, but to me, losing real value year after year is not safe. So instead of bonds, I'm using the 4 strategy preferred stocks: Stretch, Strike, Strife, and Stride. Stretch plays one role and the other 3 play a different role. Stick with me and I'll explain in a minute. My second problem with the traditional bucket approach is that Bucket 2 is too large. The standard advice is that you should hold 7 to 10 years of your expenses in bonds. I retired at age 51, so if I'm counting on a 35 or 40-year retirement, I don't want to park 10 years of my expenses in low-return investments. I want more in growth, not less, so my Bucket 2 is smaller and my growth portion is larger. Okay, let's walk through my 4-bucket strategy. Bucket 1 holds 2 years of living expenses. 3 months of that is in my bank account, and the other 21 months is held in STRC. STRC is a variable rate preferred stock issued by Strategy. STRC is currently paying an 11.5% annualized yield, and those dividend payments are made monthly, and Strategy is currently planning to increase the payments to twice per month. STRC is structurally designed to trade right around its $100 per share par value, and for months now it's held a very tight range between $99 and $100. That price stability is exactly what gives me the confidence to use STRC as a short-term cash instrument. Instead of earning less than 1% in my savings account or about 4% in a money market fund, STRC allows me to earn a yield of 11.5% a year. Every month when the STRC dividend hits my Fidelity account, I sweep it straight into my checking account. And if my bank account's running low, I can just sell off some of my STRC shares to top it off. Bucket 2 covers years 3 through 5, about 3 years of expenses. And this is where the other 3 strategy preferred stocks come in: STRK, STRF, and STRD. Where I'm using my STRC to more or less replace a money market fund, these 3 are replacing bond funds. These 3 yield between 10 and 13%, and they do a meaningfully different job than STRC. Here's the key difference. These 3 have a fixed dividend per share. When you buy the shares, you're locking in a dividend rate for as long as you hold them. For example, a couple months ago, I was able to buy Strike shares at $66.11. Since Strike pays a fixed $8 per share per year dividend, This purchase locked in a 12.1% yield for my strike shares. And by holding these for the long term, I can benefit from the return of capital tax treatment. The return of capital tax treatment means I do not owe tax when I receive the dividends. That tax gets factored into the cost basis, and I will pay long-term capital gains tax when I eventually sell the shares. The downside of these three relative to Stretch is that their share price will fluctuate a lot more than Stretch's will. That's why they're not in bucket one. I don't want to be forced to sell these shares when their price might be down. But for money I don't need for 3 to 5 years, I'm happy to ride out those price swings and collect the dividend payments over time. These three pay dividends quarterly, and when I receive the dividends, I move them directly from my Fidelity account to my bank account to top off bucket one. This minimizes how many Stretch shares I need to sell. Bucket 3 is the engine, and this is where most of my net worth lives, and it's built for growth. Some of bucket 3 sits in a taxable brokerage account, and this is money that I can tap if I need it before I turn 59 and a half, which is still 6.5 years away. The rest of bucket 3 is in my old 401k and multiple IRAs. Bucket 3 is a mix of equity exposure across a few different categories. First is diversified broad market index funds. I've also bought some of the Mag 7 stocks, in particular Nvidia, Tesla, and Google. And bucket 3 also includes what some call amplified Bitcoin stocks. In this category, I hold Strategy stock, Strive Asset Management, and some Metaplanet. I also hold some IBIT and FBTC, which are two of the Bitcoin ETFs. Because buckets 1 and 2 are giving me 5 solid years of runway, bucket 3 does what stocks do. They're volatile in the short term, but very productive over time. And bucket 4 is the one that most retirement videos don't talk about. Real spot Bitcoin held in self-custody. This is the long horizon bucket. My intention for bucket 4 is generational wealth. My base case is that this Bitcoin gets passed on to my kids. But here's the thing, it gives me optionality. If life changes, I can sell. If I make the decision to upgrade my lifestyle, I can sell. I could also borrow against it as collateral to cover expenses without triggering a taxable event. Bucket 4 is a vault and a safety net in that order. Okay, so how do I keep these 4 buckets balanced? I've got 3 rules. The first is monthly. When STRC pays its dividend, I sweep that directly into my bank account. And if I need a little bit more, I sell some Stretch shares. The second is quarterly. When STRK, STRF, and STRD pay their dividends, I also sweep those into my bank account. And rule number 3 is also quarterly. If bucket 2 is getting low, I sell some of my growth assets out of bucket 3 and move those on down to bucket 2. That's the cascade. Bucket 3 feeds bucket 2 feeds bucket 1, and bucket 1 feeds me and my wife. And here's the most important part. If there's a bad year or two in the market, bucket 3 is going to get hit hard. But between buckets 1 and 2, I have 5 years of expenses, and I can sell down my Stretch shares or my Strike, Strife, and Stride shares and fund my lifestyle without dipping into my growth assets at a time when they're down. That's a 5-year shock absorber before I'd be forced to sell any of my growth assets at a loss. That's the whole point of my bucket system. Sequence of return risk doesn't get to dictate my behavior. So that's my 4-bucket system. And to be honest, I'm only 1 year into this, so I'm sure it's going to evolve over time. I'm sure I'll be faced with unexpected expenses or tax surprises or other things I haven't yet considered. And as I evolve this plan, I'll be sure to share it on this channel. Your timeline, your tax situation, your risk tolerance, and your position on Bitcoin is likely different than mine. So your plan will be different than mine. Take what's useful and leave what isn't, and build a plan that works for you and lets you sleep at night. If you found this video helpful, hit subscribe so you can catch the next one. I'm putting out similar content every single week. And leave a comment with a topic you'd like me to cover in a future video, because this video was inspired by a question I received about how I manage the cash portion of my portfolio. Thanks for watching. I'm Michael, this is B-Tirement, and I'll catch you in the next video.